Bd5, Jenai Summer, Story and Guidance. The Magical Council, 5 out of 32. Jenai Summer, the guiding force of your inner hero. The guiding force of your inner hero. Be the hero of your own life adventure. Quote, "Every man has his own courage and is betrayed because he seeks in himself the courage of other persons." Ralph Waldo Emerson. End of quote. Jenai's story. I am Jenai Summer, a spokesperson and student of a very special place for studies called the Sacred Archives, where we can find all the information regarding the basics of life, which are the things we usually do not learn at home or at school, but which is a knowledge that lays deep hidden inside of us. I live under the guiding hand of Morai, my friend and mentor, on the planet Earth, and live as well in the Heroes Mountains, a training center for heroes, located in Kosalia, also called the Upper Crystal Kingdom, in one of the 3 Crystal Mountains. And I spend lots of time at the Sacred Archives and the Magical University of Life. The Sacred Archives. The knowledge you can gain, or better said, regain in this place is as old as creation itself. The archives and the university have its doors open to everybody, young and old, with and without formal educational background. The architect of this very special study center is my teacher Mariah Morrow, the messenger of love, who used the blueprints from the archives in Orania, which also was used by various great architects on Earth, who created the 7 wonders of the world from these blueprints. And as a matter of fact, many details of the center here resemble the wonders of your world. There are various ways to reach this sphere, ranging from traveling in and through your mind, inside spaceships on magical carpets, or on over-dimensional flying dragons and serpents, passing through the shadow world. Individuals from all over the universe, from distant galaxies and realms, come to study here. Arriving in your transportation device, you land in a private landing spot, after which the doors to space close themselves, and you entering an atmosphere you can breathe in. It is not oxygen you are familiar with, but for some reason it does the same job. There are various hotels, guest houses, sanctuaries, and dormitories. One gets fooled by the size of this facility, but once inside it expands and feels like a big country with valleys, lakes, rivers, and mountains. It is like a little paradise, as the inner sun is always shining. As there is no night here, one must make his or her life and study schedule and stick to it in order to avoid exertion. The Sacred Archives is a vital and conscious living environment. Everything around is about learning, or better said, relearning or rediscovering, in regards to our universal and spiritual inheritance, called the basics of life. Every area and space in this unique place has a purpose and function, assisting you to make that inheritance as practical as possible. The natural environment, enhanced with specific fabrics, materials, colors, smells, and sound, are a healing contribution to every cell of our being. Some call it the Garden of Eden with a modern touch. There are endless libraries packed with ancient books and wisdom scrolls. The walls are like huge galleries covered with symbols, wise sayings, and affirmations. There are interesting maps to look at on how everything in Crystallia, the creation, is connected. There are open kitchens where the instruction of vital food preparation takes place. There are endless areas for fitness, walking and biking trails, and swimming pools, and not to forget gardens. Gardens in which visitors and students learn about nature and gardening. And then there are places for relaxation, meditation, storytelling, arts and crafts, and endless playgrounds for children. Classes and courses regarding any aspect and detail of life are constantly going on and taking place in classrooms, outdoor amphitheaters and domes. It might look that you're inside, as the entire center activity takes place inside, but this special atmosphere makes you feel as it all takes place outdoors. Anyone can visit and become a student and enter the magical world where you, in addition, rediscover the guidance and guiding forces of the universe called the Sacred Council, being the faculty members of the Magical University of Life. The Sacred Council. The Sacred Council, representing the guiding force of Creator, Universe and Nature, reside in their individual realms in the universe, but they are as well faculty members at the Magical University of Life. The team is divided in 3 groups. The first group of 8 guides is called the Key Masters of Light. The second group of 7 guides is called the Keepers of the 7 Dimensions. And the third group of guides, being the 17 Divanas, called the Guardians of Conduct, which are also called the Balancing Divanas of Universe and Nature. You can visit them in their respective realms by entering through many doors located inside the sacred archives, and learn from them as well. Most of these members lived in the past in the higher realms of the gods, fighting power games with each other. But when the planet Earth was at stake, Moria Moro, the messenger of love, spoke with Kalimobanko, and they all came to be of assistance as faculty members of the sacred archives. It all started for me through my father, who was in search of the sacred archives and an ancient map called the Sacred Wisdom Map. This map was created and seemingly used by an ancient culture in order to live life more consciously and harmoniously. For me, it was essential to find the pieces of the map to fulfill a quest my father had started. This again was connected, seeking ways to assist my sick mother, me finding back the magic in my life, and looking for answers to assist the planet Earth, troubled in so many ways. This all happened when I was 14 years of age, 2 years after my father died. I went through a very rough time and lost the magic of life, and one early morning it all changed. Moria Moro, the messenger of love, showed up in my life, together with Nyama, my grandmother, an old wise woman who I never had met in the physical, but who was living in the worlds in between. Together with Dionyx, Moria's disciple and chauffeur, we went in the golden space carriage, pulled by the Hansas on many adventures that changed my entire life forever. I went to visit all the members of the magical and also called Sacred Council, representing the guiding forces of Creator and Universe and Nature in their respective realms, and I got a better idea how everything works within my mind, body, and in Crystalia the creation. I had endless talks with Moria Moro and got a better idea about Kandu, the creator and sustainer of all, and Kalimobanko, the governor of Crystalia and the keeper of the mind, who I was afraid of in the beginning. During the individual magical visits, I received information on how all these guiding forces are within everything in creation and how they can be of help. I also learned to look and interpret everything that happened in life from a symbolic point of view by meeting Toro, the decoder. Jim Jara, the master storyteller, enhanced my journey through his many life-enhancing and soul-touching stories. Returning back home in the end, after many visits and adventures, I didn't know if it all had been real. But when the next day the lost package which my father had sent off before passing on arrived, everything fell in place and it all made sense to me. I became aware that the outside world is merely a reflection of the universe and all the dimensions inside the body and mind, and the worlds beyond. Nothing on the outside can exist when it doesn't already exist within the mind. Everything we experience is a reflection and projection of the mind, and glimpses of the world beyond, and for that reason all knowledge can be found inside. I was able to gather all the pieces of the map, and I have now everything with me in life to live life as a heroine and not to feel a victim of circumstances anymore. My pain is gone and the magic and adventure has returned. I'm able to help myself in most situations and have many tools to assist others and the planet. Discovering the different heroes within. Through my talks with my Amoro, I have come to the conclusion, equipped with a mind and physical body, our true and real self, our soul came down in consciousness to experience creation, created in the impermanent, ever-changing world of opposites. We as crystal children of light souls came with our spiritual inheritance and knew everything about the world of Kandu, the creator, and Crystallia, the created worlds. Inside the mind, through which we as souls would communicate with in the created world, we had access to all information concerning the created worlds, its past, the moment, and its future. As we started to walk around in our body and started to experience the created world, Crystallia and the creation, unfortunately the sense organs through which the mind was in contact with in the outside world started to get attached to the things of that world. The mind came under the direction of the sense organs, and the soul under the direction of the mind. From that moment on, our intended experience in creation became an adventure with a lot of struggle, in which we forgot to connect with our spiritual and universal inheritance, and started to connect only with the things of this world, which were very limited. We lost our spiritual and universal inheritance and started to work only with our limited and conditioned inheritance. That means our familiar world. Information which we received from others who had lost their spiritual and universal inheritance. And almost everybody around us has lost that spiritual and universal knowledge. We changed our spiritual and universal adventure into a limited and conditioned adventure in which we now struggle more than intended. In order to rediscover our universal and spiritual inheritance, we must go beyond our limited and conditioned inheritance, our familiar world. We must go into the unknown, into the void, into a new adventure, which is only possible for a hero. Although there are heroes in the limited and conditioned world who achieve their goal with their inner limited and conditioned inheritance, like athletes, movie stars, war heroes, and successful business people, there are also global and universal heroes who enter a much more magical adventure, achieved by tuning into their universal inheritance. It's like philosophers and other great souls who contribute to the keeping of peace and consciousness of the planet. And then there are those heroes having a mystical adventure, achieved by tuning into their inner spiritual inheritance. And Morai, in my opinion, is one of them. Great souls on the path of self and God realization. All of us are heroes, but the only difference lays in what dimension we play the hero. In our limited and conditioned world, we mostly fight as a limited hero with everything and everybody, and our life is filled with unnecessary struggle. This hero mostly knows how to be a hero in just one or two areas in life's adventure, but is not a hero in many other aspects in life. When we understand that we can progress to a less intense and less painful experience, we discover a life in a more universal way. We become more connected as global citizens, and our task as a universal hero is to stay on this level, not to fall into the battle with the limited and conditioned mind realities. On the lower level of heroes, there are possibly physical fights and lots of ego-related issues to success on that level. But then there is another hero, the spiritual hero, who derives his strength from a complete different and additional dimension. This hero tries to be at peace with everything and everybody by accepting life as it is, and this is already a battle within one's mind, who tells us completely something different. It is making peace with a world we all have our judgment on, a judgment which Kandu or Morai doesn't have. It's making peace with oneself, and easier said than done. I struggle still from morning till evening, but now have endless tools to constantly rescue myself, which I attained during my adventures and being around Morai. During our life, we play with all these three heroes, the limited, the universal and the spiritual, and it might be interesting to recognize with which hero we are connecting while going through this momentary adventure. While practicing to work with our universal hero, our life becomes more easier and magical, and by his grace we can start working more with our spiritual hero qualities. It is a life of seeing everything as an opportunity. There are challenges and traps and barriers, but all to be taken and overcome. And this is the life of an optimist. Many of us, for one reason or another, do not step onto the path of this hero, but try to find paths without obstacles and leading a secure life and avoiding change and risks. But in my opinion, that is a boring life, and they are still getting confronted and living lives as a victim. Live every day as your last. Having met many heroes, I saw similarities, and one of them is to prepare yourself every day for the ultimate match tomorrow. Do your best on all levels so you have no excuse and realize that there maybe is not a match after. This is the life of a samurai who can die any day in the battle, but who lives a full life being aware of this fact. Death can come also to any of us any minute, so why not live by these principles? Marcus Aurelius, a great philosopher, said once, "Do every act of your life if it were your last." To be aware is a battle with Kalimobanku, the mind, that always tries to distract us. When we would look at the people around us, the things around us, the food we eat and the things we do every day, as the last time, we would see, touch, taste, hear and smell them differently, and we would live much better. We would not do many things, and we would do a lot of things we usually do not do. Like a warrior in a battle, being aware of all the dangers around him, we must live our life in regards to the mind in the same way. Finish every day as if it would be your last, or when this is too scary to think about, finish every day with the feeling that you did everything you needed and that you gave it your very best. Never leave unfinished business behind, like forgetting to clean up, to get ready for the new day. Never go to bed without thanking Kandu or everything and everybody who around you was present that day. Never go to bed with the thought that you could have apologized or said sorry for not having been the nicest person. So whatever you do during the day, if it is helping at home, studying, training for sports or practicing music or arts, give it all, and later you will never feel any regrets. Life each day is like living the life of someone who wants to become a professional tennis player. You live that life in all aspects, on and off the court, you eat accordingly, and when you practice, you give it all. When you end up in a match, you have no excuse when you would be losing, but actually it is not even about winning or losing, it is about the adventure itself and being on the path of living the life of a professional tennis player. When it's based on winning and losing, you set yourself up for disappointments, frustration, and even anger will surface. Do it for the sake of the adventure, and you can do this with everything you do. Live your life from its center. How often have we seen the heroes in the movies having to become focused and centered in order to stand the task? Mariah explained to me that we must live life from its center, and that there is a center in each aspect of life. He gave me different examples at different times. He said once, visualize life being on a merry-go-round. And on being on the outskirts makes life very fast and you cannot see too much, but when you stand in the center, all goes slower and you can see far more. Everything has its center and circles around them, like a dartboard or like a merry-go-round. The more in the center, the more aware and harmonious life is. The further away from that center, the less focus and unhealthy life we live. Let me give you a short introduction about living from your center. The process away from our center is going away from you understanding that you are a soul, a crystal child of life. So, your real center is your soul center. The first ring around the center is about living with the highest virtues. The second ring is about all the thoughts you can play with in your mind. The third ring is about verbalizing and talking about these thoughts. The fourth ring is about the directions and places in regards to these thoughts. The fifth ring is about doing and being busy, getting it going. The sixth ring is about being creative in that manifestation process. And the seventh ring is about being busy with the manifestations of these thoughts and holding on and controlling that what is manifested. The process back to your center. The seventh ring, understanding that all manifestations and possessions come with endless obligations and that none of them are permanent. Practice selflessness, meaning knowing that nothing belongs to you, that you cannot hold on to anything, that nothing you can control, and that none of them you can take with you. The sixth ring, learn to play innocently with everything as a part of a make-believe world, a world in which nothing is permanent, constantly changing, created with opposites and bound to time. Practice moderation and do not go in excess. The fifth ring, no need to force and push, which is related to fear, not being able to do it all, and which will express itself through anger. And you will not be able to digest it all. Pace yourself and be gentler. The fourth ring, unconditional love and embrace it all, but know that everything could end up being an attachment and trying to keep you down in the adventure. Third ring, no need to judge anything or anybody, as all is just a preference and opinion, and reduce the endless talking about everything and everybody. In listening, you learn much more. The second ring, try to concentrate and focus, and look at all the thoughts running through your head, and know that as soon as you connect it with any of them, that the process away from the center starts. The first ring, be more by yourself and enjoy the silence and stay connected to the higher virtues being selflessness, moderation, gentleness, unconditional love and humbleness. The center. Be more at your center and learn to watch your own movie and learn to assist yourself better, being in the rings, and learn to play your roles better. In the Heroes Mountain, which is a center and training ground for the heroes, we undergo endless training programs and tests to become and stay centered. We spend many hours sitting in caves by ourselves and meditating, We learn techniques and finger and hand positions in order to bring all our scattered energy back to our center. And we attend classes to focus through various types of martial arts, of which the bow and arrow is my favorite. It's a tough program we undergo. Over and over it gets explained that I am inside my own center and circle, and that things and people come into my circle when it's time and not earlier. Be in your center, accept who you are and where you are at the moment, otherwise you would be different and somewhere else. The ultimate hero is to become a light knight, traveling back and forth from the light within the ocean of love, being with Kandu, the creator, to our place in Crystallia, the creation, and to live by the light knight's code, which is unspoken, but having heard what I just spoke about, you just get an understanding of it. Come and visit the sacred archives and discover endless treasures. Meet the Sacred Council members and learn from them and let them guide you in every aspect of your life. This is the school before and after any other schools in which we can learn everything regarding the basics of life. The information we usually do not learn at home or at school. It is like discovering a lost manual how to live in the world. Come and view the overdimensional sacred wisdom map showing how everything in life is connected. It took me years to put this map together, and I had to visit the 7 keepers of the 7 dimensions, and I can tell you it was not easy. And I'm busy with writing down my 7 incredible adventures. Visit our magical Zen gardens and listen to the many conversations I had with Morai, giving a different perspective on so many things that we are confronted with in life. Step into the gallery of symbols with affirmation, guiding us in an additional way, or make a tour through the Light on Life gallery, giving every day endless inspirational thoughts to keep us awake and aware. Experience the 7-day life-changing adventure program that brings every day different things to adventure in most aspects of life. Using this program to start another venture in life, or come to fully experience it in our 7-day life-changing adventure resort. Learn to make simple changes in your home and change it into a living sanctuary, and listen to the soul-touching and life-guiding stories told by Jim Jara, the master storyteller. Hang out with Toro, the symbolic translator of messages, and learn about the symbolic meaning of every part of your body, disease, or about the things that happen in the world, or book a short trip to the individual planets on which each council member lives, and where you can experience them in full. Discover the sacred archives and the magical university of life, the place where real heroes are made. How I can help you in your life. Quote, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." Seneca. End of quote. I am Jenai Summer and represent the guiding force of the inner hero within you. You know the qualities of a hero from the stories you heard and read, from all the movies you have seen, and from all those around you you admire, adore, or look up to. In general, we are living our hero out through other people, or sometimes we become a hero in 1 or 2 aspects of life. I am referring to a different hero, a hero in all aspects of life and beyond. One who is at the battlefield with the mind, freeing him or herself from being and feeling victimized, living in fear, slave of routines, habits and complaints. I found some nice quotations that might help you as well in regards to those things. Quote, 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the ones you did do. So throw off the bowline, sail away from the safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, discover. Mark Twain. End of quote. Is it not that all of us would like to be a hero? And is it not for that reason we go to the movies or look up to other people we admire? We all can be and experience that hero in our own life adventure, but like everything in life, it requires knowledge and effort. We all want to be stars, so why not becoming one? Quote, shoot for the moon, even when you miss it, you will land amongst the stars. Les Brown. End of quote. I have gone through a complete transformation, going through many difficult adventures, and being a student of the Magical University of Life at the Sacred Archives, and I recommend this process, path and journey to everybody. It was more a way of re-education and rediscovering the things which I knew about, but which were deep hidden inside of me. Quote, you will never do anything in this world without courage. It is the greatest quality of the mind next to honor. Aristotle. End of quote. It is not about defeat and victories, nor about success and victims. It is the adventure. It is not about reaching the end, a pattern which you all very much addicted to, in wanting instant results, gratification, the prize and the treasure. It is not about the diploma, but the knowledge and experience we got by going through it. Quote, it is good to have an end to journey toward, but it is the journey that matters in the end. Ursula Le Guin. Be the hero of your own life adventure. Many of us also live to be a hero, but we do it for somebody else. Maybe we try to be something or somebody for our parents, friends, or people in the advertisement who tell us what to be. Become a hero of your own life adventure and realize that an adventure is not about the familiar, but unfamiliar things and situations. An adventure is not about feeling secure or seeing how you are doing when you are away from your familiar surroundings. An adventure is not about the same places and tastes, but new places and new tastes. An adventure is not about what you can see and know, it is about that what you cannot see or understand yet. Do not wait for others to start your adventure, just start. Be sure, however, that your heroic acts do not only benefit you, but everybody and the world at large. Look at life as an adventure with many opportunities and become the hero of your own life adventure in all aspects. And most important, do it for yourself. Quote, it is only in adventure that some people succeed in knowing themselves, in finding themselves. André Gide. End of quote. Be the hero in all aspects of life. Start looking in all aspects of your life and see if you are a hero, or if you are a slave or victim chained by desire, habits, and limited ways of thinking. When you have certain tastes for certain foods and you think that you must have them, know that they are stronger than you and you are the slave. When you have certain bad ways of behavior, it means that these behaviors are stronger than you. When you feel sorry for yourself and when sick or when you do not get what you want, it will not make you a hero. You need to learn and help yourself in any situation. Quote, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Tao Te Ching. End of quote. When you resist change, fight with time, when you are lazy, rebelling, thinking that you know it all, when you just want it your way, You can imagine this as characters within your mind, and you are the slave of them. It will take some courage to resist them and freeing yourself from them, but you have to start. All characters are within us, the good ones and the bad ones, and it is not so much about wanting to destroy the bad ones, but knowing that they are there and not falling for them. Each character is within us and part of the mind, and none of them we can throw out as there is no delete button. For that reason we must accept them all, but we do not need to play and entertain those characters that are not good for ourselves, others and the world. The more we train and be with the positive ones, the more they will be in our life assisting us. When an unwanted character shows up, we must first accept it and learn how to deal with it, and violence is never the answer. Always remember that any character you don't like in another person must also be inside yourself, otherwise you would not be able to recognize it. Quote, "Deal with the faults of others as gently as with your own." Chinese proverb. End of quote. Living from the center. Living life from its centers is often referred as the circles of conscious living. The closer we live from the center of the circles, the more harmoniously we experience life. Your personal center. Learn to be with you and do not lose yourself in the crowd. In other words, do not forget to spend time, just be by yourself. And when you are amongst others, be careful to not lose yourself. The more people are around you and the more locomotion, always think about you being that center as a soul, a crystal child of life. Food. The center of food is about consuming the best fresh and organic foods and knowing that the further you go away from that center, that the food have less energy quality and your body needs it as it is alive. Let's have a closer look at the center or circles of nutrition. The center circle. Foods that are present in nature. Sprouting grains, beans and seeds. Juicing natural fruits and vegetables. Juicing foods from below the soil and using them as natural medicine. Sun-baked products and hydrating. Clean natural water. Circle 2. The food from Circle 1 but coming from a man-organized organic garden or field. Seasonal foods from your environment. Room temperature juice drying of fruits and plants. Circle 3. The foods from Circle 1 coming from fields where mass production takes place. Fertilizers, chemicals and pesticides, and imported foods. Circle 4. Foods from Circle 1 or even worse from Circle 2 and using simple man-invented heating processes such as low oven baking, steaming and stir-frying without using oils. Drinking bottled water. Circle 5. Using more intense invented heating processes such as boiling, homogenizing, pasteurizing and deep frying. Adding sugars, preservatives, colorings, etc. General, restaurant and mass-produced foods. Eating modern foods, sugar, flour products and animal protein. And drinking stressed-out faucet water. Circle 6. The consuming of genetically manipulated foods. The manipulation of animals for consumption. Fitness. In regards to being fit, realize that participating in sports often ends up in frustration, competition and injuries. So proper posture, breathing techniques, proper foot placement, simple ways to stretch and strengthening the body, in addition to some endurance training, through swimming, walking, jogging, dancing and biking, are the things we need in the center. The further we go away from that center, we end up in competitiveness, ego fights, and getting involved in vanity. Learning. A hero, while studying, has the discipline to not get sidetracked with attractions that take away from achieving its goal. However, as long as we think that we are sent to school, we might rebel, and not like it. The time of life as a child is for playing and learning, and it could be looked at as an adventure of finding treasures of skills and knowledge. The most important center of learning is about learning the basics of life. Then in the next circle, you learn the simple skills of life, how to take care of you and your environment. The next circle, you learn about other skills you might need in the world of man, followed by specific professional skills. And then there are more and more circles away from that center in which you participate daily. Hanging out in front of the TV, surfing the web, and even more away from the center, watching violent movies and playing violent games. All of this has to do with learning. Learning what is necessary, useful, or bad stuff. It is making a proper study about what is good for you, and there is not one way because we grow older and we may need different things. So again, this is an adventure, but do not depend on others telling you what is good for you and not, and especially watch out for those trying to make money on you and your parents who have to pay for it. Quote, "It is not enough to do your best. You must know what to do, and then you do your best." W. Edward Deming. Working with the Three Warriors. Quote, "If a warrior is to succeed at anything, the success must come gently, with a great deal of effort, but with no stress or obsession." Carlos Castaneda. End of quote. The Limited Warrior. The limited warrior is mostly busy with the things for himself or herself. It is about, look at me, I'm gorgeous, look at my clothes I got, look at my gadget I received, look at how good I am in tennis and volleyball and swimming, martial arts and music. At times, this warrior extends his field in participating in a team of some kind, and then it's about my team and how good we are. We beat so and we are better than. It is also a warrior that possibly is the best in one school subject, or the best in the class, or even the best on the school. It is also about imitating idols and heroes we watch at the movies or in computer games. There is in general nothing wrong with being good at something, but we have to ask the reasons why. Is it to stand out in order to feel accepted by myself, my parents, and friends? Is it that I want to dominate others? When this is the case, our platform we stand on as a hero is very fragile, and we set ourselves up for frustration and defeat, for we cannot be number one all the time. There is always somebody becoming better than us. Look at all these warriors of the past. They have been overthrown by the new ones. When you're good in something, there is no need to show off, for it is a gift that you received and nourished. And when you end up with your gift as a professional, just take it humbly, and it is just for you to make the money to provide the basics of life. When there is an abundance of money, I hope you spend it well and share your fortune with others. Most limited heroes end up in ego fights, and it is about the victories and the defeats, and constantly busy for the future, the next test, the next deal, the next game, and in general, they do not reflect peace and harmony. Quote, "A hero is someone who has given his or her life to something bigger than oneself." Joseph Campbell. End of quote. The Universal Warrior. The universal warrior knows that his mind is equipped with a hard disk, holding all information regarding the creation, the past, the moment, and the future, and everything our mind can come up with. This information is accessible when a warrior advances to this level by going beyond his or her limited and conditioned inheritance. It is tuning into the wisdom of the ancients who knew how to live in harmony with creation. The life of this kind of warrior reflects being a hero in most aspects of life, and he or she is on a path not to harm, but to protect health and harmony, and to be of a contribution to mankind and the world. This kind of warrior you can achieve by learning from the Sacred Council and studying at the Sacred Archives. Everybody can be this kind of warrior, and this potential lays within all of us. As I said before, it is the path beyond the path of the limited warrior and an adventure away from our familiar worlds of warriors. Quote, "The important thing is to be able at any moment to sacrifice what we are for what we could be." Charles Dubois. End of quote. The spiritual warrior. Often in movies and stories, the hero gives his or her lives for others, which is actually meant to be an internal act by giving up one's life. It is to get out from being a victim and slave of the mind, others and the circumstances, and to rise above the mind. It is to give up the ego and our limited identity, and to conquer the mind, the sense organs and the passion, and to rise above the realm of mind and matter, to realize that he or she is the soul, and that the soul, the life force and Kandu, the creator are all one and the same. On this level, which is above and beyond creation, the warrior knows everything about the creator and creation. This is the ultimate warrior as far as it concerns me, and a task easier said than done, but doable. A spiritual warrior knows its real self, the soul, being a child of the Creator, and through the connection of the life force by inner and silent prayer and meditation, and who has access to the highest virtues and living the highest principles. The spiritual warrior sees the Creator in him or herself, in others and everything, and acts accordingly. Quote, "God must become an activity in our consciousness." Joel S. Goldsmith. End of quote. More on warriors and heroes. During our life we play with all these three heroes, and it might be interesting to recognize with which hero we are connecting while going through our daily adventure. While practicing to work more from our universal hero, our life becomes more easy and magical, and by his grace we can start working more with our spiritual hero qualities. It is a life of seeing everything as an opportunity. Yes, there are challenges and traps and barriers, but all to be taken, overcome, and this is the life of a hero. Quote, "There are no mistakes, no coincidences. All events are blessings given to us to learn from." Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. Many of us, for one reason or another, do not step onto the path of the hero, but try to find paths without obstacles and leading a secure life and avoiding change and risks. But in my opinion, that is a boring life and still getting confronted and living lives like a victim. Quote, "If you can find the path with no obstacles, it probably doesn't lead anywhere." Frank A. Clark. End of quote. A hero knows that his greatest enemy is his own mind, which created all the problems and obstacles. Like being in a labyrinth, the hero always finds a way to get out of any negative circumstance. A real hero comes from his inner center and not from any physical power and strength, and changes his fear into courage. Quote, "We cannot escape fear. We can only transform it into a companion that accompanies us on all our exciting adventures. Take a risk a day, one small bold stroke that will make you feel great once you have done it." Susan Jeffers. A hero doesn't blame anybody, but takes full responsibility for his or her actions. All of us are part of the destruction of the planet, and it's not about pointing and blaming others, but about our personal actions. Talk with the elders, teachers, or go on the net and see how we are destroying the planet. But all of us do not want to give up certain things that contribute to the destruction. We demand certain foods, we want certain toys, the latest gadgets, we want those clothes, we want and we help the destruction, as everything is manufactured, and that is all produced, which leaves pollution. Quote, "The world is a dangerous place, not because of those who do evil, but because of those who look on and do nothing." Albert Einstein. End of quote. Arriving at the teenage years, we all have so much to say about what others did and do wrong. We become rebellious and angry, which is just a waste of time and energy. We have to wait and prove that life can be different at a later stage. In the meantime, we better be quiet. Anger is destructive, and when we do not learn to control it, it will control us. Quote, "Anger is a momentary madness, so control your passion or it will control you." Horace. End of quote. A hero travels light, cannot afford to be slow or lazy, is always fully prepared for any challenge, and never tries to find any excuse. Quote, "The pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity. The optimist, the opportunity in every difficulty." L.P. Jacks. End of quote. A hero doesn't complain, but does everything possible to find ways to help him or herself, in pain and sickness, and actually in any situation. A true hero doesn't stay only dependent on the help of others, and doesn't fall into the role of a victim. This is about taking responsibility, and it requires investigation and research and testing things out. Quote, "You must accept responsibility before you can solve it. You cannot solve a problem by saying it's not my problem and hoping that someone else will solve it for you. You can solve a problem only when you say, this is my problem and it's up to me to solve it." M. Scott Peck. End of quote. We see what other people do to each other and could easily fall into heavy judgment, us forgetting that they are just the product of their past, but unable to change things for that moment. We easily could go to war with them, trying to teach them a lesson, but don't let us forget that we ourselves can easily fall ourselves until we have become the master of the mind. To go through these hard times, the best weapon and power is love. It is the beginning and essence of all, and by using that power, we will be supported on many levels. Quote, "What is a hero without love for mankind?" Doris Lessing. End of quote. Living under the hand of destructive habits and not doing anything about it is giving up on the path of the hero. So watch out with the negative and impolite behaviors and unhealthy cravings such as fast food, sugars, candy, ice creams, and more. Without the courage of the inner hero, there is no real adventure anymore. It is a mental battle. When we think that we can do something, we will be able to do it. But when we say it is impossible, we have stopped already the process. Quote, If you think it's impossible, you make it impossible. Bruce Lee. End of quote. Is this who you want to be? During one of my adventures, I discovered an old scroll titled, "Is this who you want to be?" There was no signature on the scroll, but it was definitely written by someone who went or discovered the path of the hero. It was interesting, comforting, and confirming that anybody who reads it responded with it that they want to be this person. It inspired me for years and still does. The path of the hero. Imagine finding yourself in a world full of adventures, a magical place where you have come to the conclusion that you are the center and the hero. You are managing to accept and digest life in whatever form it comes, and knows how to take care of yourself in most situations. You are a person that other people look at and wish they could be. You are there to assist others to rediscover that hero within themselves and to accept their adventure. You are experiencing youthfulness, rediscovering the child within yourself. You are playful and feel full of energy and vitality, and you are getting more and more aware of what is happening with yourself and everything around you. You start embracing your creativity. You're on the road to be an artist of life and sense the ability to tune into your universal and spiritual inheritance, striving to live by high standards and operating with the highest virtues. You are eager and able to break through your conditionings, limitations, and fearlessly stepping into the void, always ready to discover new treasures. You have goals, but you live in full conscious, moment to moment, the road of getting there, without any expectations. You know now that life is an ever-changing adventure where no two moments or experiences can be the same, and you are on guard not to get tricked in false and impermanent securities. You know that there is no permanency in the theater of life, in which you accept your obligations and roles. You're getting better and better to play them well without getting caught up in them. You are in the realization process that your real true self is a soul, a spirit, a body of light, equipped with a mind and body in order to experience the creation, created with opposites, with emotions, places, faces, work, tastes, family, life, friends, pain and discomfort, balance and imbalance. You are starting to see every moment as a gift of life. You feel blessed that you're well off and rich in one or more aspects and areas of life, but for sure, you are becoming every day more rich in positive thinking, being creative, loving from your heart, having compassion and patience. You are learning to travel light and constantly reminding yourself that nothing belongs to you from this world. You are becoming a true visitor, a real adventurer. You try to respect everything and have a positive relationship with everything and everybody. You know that your biggest friend and enemies are right within your own mind, and you are in the process to guide it in order to live in harmony. You're not only getting to know who you really are, but you also know where you are and understand that nothing can exist without the life force, which you respect and stay in contact with through silent prayer and meditation. You're finding out that everything in this world is a creation and dance of energies. You are constantly observing and study their function, their interrelationship and their connections with everything in existence. You understand that you are in a foreign country that has rules and regulations, and you are getting more and more aware of these universal and nature balancing forces governing this realm. You are becoming aware that you are constantly guided by the life force, the energies and the balancing forces. You are learning how to get out of the way and let them do their job, because they are there to recreate balance there where there is an imbalance. You are merely assisting. You know that when an imbalance expresses itself through signs and symptoms and disease, that they are just a message, a wake-up call, which reflects itself simultaneously in all aspects in your life, because everything is connected. You do not look anymore at these occurrences from an external point of view, nor do you blame anybody or anything. You reflect everything back to yourself and have most of the time a clue why things are happening. You are not a victim of any circumstances and feel empowered by taking full responsibility and looks at everything as an opportunity for self-growth. You are discovering within you the magician, the nature's physician, a healer who is on an adventure to rediscover the endless ways of balancing any imbalances from multiple angles and knows where to go for additional advice and assistance. You are doing your best on all levels and not concerned with outcomes. You are on the path to become old and wise in order to share your experiences with others, because you are living and lived a content and fulfilling life. You have no fear to pass on through and from this momentary adventure, hoping to do so in a natural way and knowing that other adventures are on their way. You feel truly a hero on all levels of your adventure. All of us can be this hero, this adventurer, which we all once experienced but somehow lost. Are you willing to go the path again? The Hero Warrior. I am a warrior in disguise, on the road to become truly wise. I am not seeking name or fame, but my life will never be the same. Discovering the secrets of the mind and leaving all my fears behind. Learning to live in total harmony and finding the real hero inside of me.